All right, big pharma's woes are another sector's gains. There's a growing sector of companies that provide low-cost sales reps. Bloomberg Shannon Pettypiece is with us here. And Shannon, you sat down with the CEO, one of the CEOs of one of these companies.
Yeah, well, that's right. I sat down with the CEO of PDI, Nancy Lurker, and who's also a former chief marketing officer of Novartis, so a real veteran in this industry. And her company provides sales reps to some of the world's biggest drug makers who are looking for PDI to help them cut millions of dollars from their bottom line. The company has seen their share price and revenue double over the past year, and Lurker says the outlook for her sector is promising.
Pharmaceutical industries are focusing much more now on what I call the middle of the P&L. So instead of being more of a focus on pure revenue driving, it's much more of a focus on how do we not only drive revenues, but now we have to focus much more in the middle of the P&L. And that's where companies like ours, what I call productivity enhancers, we can come in and really help drive productivity.
And how much, well, on average, how much can outsourcing a sales rep save a pharmaceutical company? Is there some figures?
Multiple millions of dollars. If you look at the big pharma companies, you're looking at anywhere from 30 to 50, 70 million dollars.
Okay. You said 30
to 50 to 70 million dollars, depending on the size of their field organization. So if you assume that a certain proportion, by no means all, but a certain proportion of their field organization is more of an outsourced model, which, by the way, shifts from fixed to variable cost and provides enhanced flexibility. For the large pharmaceutical companies, that's about a $50 to $70 million savings. So it's quite substantial.
Yeah, and are most big pharma companies doing this now?
A large majority of them are. There are some still that are not, but one of the reasons I came to PDI is because I believe that the macro trends were working in favor of what I call the commercial outsource model. And almost all the big ones, if they are not doing it, they are actively looking at it. We've partnered with several large pharmaceutical companies where actually we have a very, very large footprint today.
She said that the patent expirations and health reform law are some of the main factors driving drug makers to look to lower their costs.
So she provides people with low-cost sales forces. How does she do that? She just pay the people less than the big pharma companies would?
Yeah, she does, and it's lower costs overall, including costs of vehicles, technology, transportation, salary, benefits, overall costs. It's about total cost about $180,000 for a pharmaceutical sales rep at big pharma. If you outsource it, it can be about $140,000, $135,000, somewhere in that range. And then again, that's for the total cost of the employee.
Did she talk about anything else that might be kind of driving this kind of trend for outsourcing?
Well, yeah, absolutely. She said that actually some of the drug makers cut a little too deep when they did their downsizing a few years ago of their sales forces. And here's a little bit what she has to say about that. Yeah, she basically says that they kind of went overboard with their cutting. I think we have a clip from earlier.
Usually what happens when you have consolidation going on in the industry, there are synergy targets that have to get hit, so the numbers then just tend to be managed from on high, and as a result, what ends up happening is, you're correct, they usually end up downsizing a bit more than they anticipated, and pharmaceutical brands do respond, and they are very effective in having live reps go out and talk about products. So that's when it's pretty predictable. 3 to 6 months after a downsizing, we usually get a phone call.
So interesting company watch. Again, their stock's done really well, so hopefully keep a close eye on them, and we'll see how things go with the industry.
This seems like a story, though, under the radar, though. It really does, because you don't really kind of hear this in the drug industry.
Yep, yeah, it absolutely is under the radar.
All right, Shannon, thanks so much.